what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hey everyone, welcome into the Arena, a Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. This is episode 114. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleyman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. How you guys doing, man? We're getting closer and closer to Christmas. The weather's starting to get colder. yeah. And for Carl, I mean, yeah, probably even more snowed in. Who knows? But how you doing, Carl?
Yeah, we had a little bit of snow the other day, but it wasn't much. It was like an inch or less.
Okay, so
it's gone already, you know.
Okay, yeah. And Burley, how about you? You getting the snow there up in Canada?
We don't have any as of right now because it comes and goes. But how's the wildling situation over there, Carl? Since you're on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we still have walls around. They're getting very small and looking very dirty, but they're there.
Yeah, out here in Japan, we still haven't gotten like close to Tokyo. No snow yet. We usually don't get snow until around February. But yeah, I mean, the mornings have been just really foggy. It's really weird. It's really foggy, and then it's a little humid. We did have some rain last week, so it was really wet. You know, so the temperature was like close to 20 degrees. You know, and then just all of a sudden from the day before yesterday, poof, you know, back down to like, you know, regular early December temperatures. So, you know, cool and dry, you know, so, yeah. So, yeah. So we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Burley's got some things to talk about with that. We're going to be doing some discussion about, you know, narratives in games, as well as now the PlayStation 5 is 2 years old. So is it worth the price? Is it worth getting even after 2 years? And we'll throw in Xbox in it as well to that conversation, as well as our picks of the week for December 5th through the 11th. And then the PlayStation Plus games for December, as well as Game Pass games coming this month as well. But before we get into the games that we've been playing this past week, here's a brief word about where you can find the podcast.
Before the crew discuss what they have been playing, this episode of The Arena, a Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast, in audio and video formats, will be going to Patreon in early access for 1 day after being recorded. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry tier 1 level at $1 per month and get early access to every episode in audio and video formats, exclusive post-show content in video format when recorded, as well as watch or listen ad-free, please visit patreon.com/thearena_podcast for further details. Weekly on Sundays, the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, and in video format on our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions. For the audio version, just download your favorite podcast app and search for The Arena, a Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and the podcast audio website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. For all information regarding the podcast and our entertainment and pop culture related content, along with our blog and forums, visit the official website of The Arena Productions at www.thearenaproductions.com. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at TheArena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys, I'll start. I put in 2 hours of Callisto Protocol today.
Ooh.
It is
Let's
fun.
hear it.
It is it's great. I love it. Of course, it's to me it's Dead Space 2.0, and there's a lot of similarities to Dead Space in this game. Um, the main character's name is Jacob. He is like a cargo pilot. And obviously the cargo ship that he's on, it crashes into Callisto. And Callisto in this game is like a prison colony. So it's interesting how he ends up at this prison. Of course, I'm not going to spoil any of the game for anybody, but the gameplay, it's really similar to Dead Space. For example, you're walking down corridors and then you come up to like a wall panel, and then you can get like a health kit. For example, you stomp on enemies, and then after you stomp on the enemies, you can get credits. So just like in Dead Space, you get the credits. So you get credits, and like I'm going into in the prison colony area, going into these like cells, and even on the ship at the very beginning of the game, when you're on the cargo ship, you go into like the the cargo hold, or even into the room that you sleep in. You have credits like laying on the desk and things like that. Weapons, you start out with like a big crowbar, and so you're just basically you're parrying, and then you're like dodging with the left thumbstick, but you can't dodge in the same direction twice. So you have to dodge left, and if you dodge left again, the enemy's gonna get you. It's gonna the monster's gonna hit you. So you have to go to the left, and then you have to go to the right, and you have to go to the left, because that's the way the monsters swing at you. They swing left, right, not left, or anything like that. So you're using the left thumbstick a lot to, for example, open up doors, the triangle button, of course, and then the X button to, for example, to start lifts, things like that. So there's lifts in this game like there was in Dead Space a lot. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, the crowbar, just smashing the monsters, it's fun. And then, of course, kicking them and, stomping them to get some credits. And then, of course, I got into the point where you get that kind of that stun blade. That's, kind of in the end of the first chapter where you can get that. So I'm starting to use that. But yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. It runs really well. It's very pretty. From the first part of the game where you're on the cargo ship to now where you're in the prison colony, it's really fun. So I'm really enjoying it so far.
Are you playing you're on PS5, right?
Yeah, I'm playing it on PS5. I told Burley I was going to get it on Series X, but it's the same price.
You told me
it's the same price, though, Burley. It's $70 even on Series X.
Yeah.
So,
well, you made the right choice, because from what people are saying with the versions, like Digital Foundry specifically, this video is pretty illuminating. Do you play quality or performance mode?
I'm playing on performance mode.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because this game, if you watch the video, it's pretty cool because the game is beautiful, and it on quality mode has really good ray trace like shadows and reflections.
Yeah.
But on the Series X version, there's no ray trace reflections. There's ray trace shadows, but not reflections. And the assumption is that like they just didn't have time to finish it, so they didn't put it in that version, because the Xbox Series X version apparently has more frame rate issues, specifically on like quality mode. I think performance mode is pretty close on both of those.
Right.
But quality mode, which doesn't even have the ray trace reflections, and somehow does more poorly. And they said even after a patch that was given, it still has problems. So like, and then the PC version apparently is the worst of all, because it has some sort of it has some like Unreal Engine 4 like known concern that like this shader compilation stutter, they call it. And they said like, and I saw the video, I'm like, it is painful, because anytime anything new, they said, is introduced into the scene, that I guess uses new shaders, it causes a significant stutter. It's like the game was any major moment you're getting stutter.
Yeah, there was a patch that came out. I mean, just the similarities. I just want to get back to that a little bit to Dead Space. I mean, like in Dead Space, you have the female protagonist that's, on the comms, talking to Isaac. Well, in this game, you have from the prison colony, you have a male protagonist. He has like an Australian accent, and he's been in that prison for several years, and so he can guide you to certain areas of the prison. But there's no maps yet. No maps. I mean, so you basically you're walking blind, going through these corridors and stuff, having to find out where to go. Maybe there's a map system later on that you'll get to, but right now there's no map at all. Another thing, obviously, in Dead Space with Isaac's suit, of course, the back spine was where you see like, the health bars on the spine. Whereas in this game, Jacob has an implant on his neck, which all the prisoners have, and those light up. So those are the health bars. And so when you inject yourself with a health kit, then those bars go back up on the neck.
Oh.
So,
okay,
yeah.
so they kept that from Dead Space, that idea.
Right.
I like that idea. That was nice because especially for me as a streamer, because usually the health is in the bottom left-hand corner where my camera is. So it's like it's always hard to tell my health. So it's nice to keep that.
And so far, not too many jump scares or anything. There was one when I like opened one of the doors and then a monster jumped at me. But other than that, there hasn't been too many jump scares yet. But I'm sure, I just started like the second chapter. So there's going to be a ton more jump scares later on, I'm sure. But I'm enjoying it. So that's what I've been playing. So Burley, what have you been playing?
Well, 3 different games I've got on the go. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on my personal time. I'm getting close to the end. I'm on that final chapter. Been grinding up some levels because I've been told, hey, you really need to jump a bunch of levels to stand a chance against the final bosses. So I've been playing that. Been playing more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'm close to the end.
Nice.
I've just got a few things to finish up. I've got the Elite Four to finish. The true boss of the star bases and explore Area 0. And then God of War Ragnarok, I've been continuing that. I'm really enjoying that. I'm glad I finally get to play it. The combat in this is way harder compared to the first game. This one is a way more of a you really need to get the blocks down or you ain't gonna survive.
I see. Cool. Carl, how about you? What have you been playing, man? Still Persona? Yeah,
just Persona right now.
Yeah.
I don't think I touched anything else.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not really much new to say. It's still great. I still love it.
Cool.
Got some new characters that have joined me, which is cool. I always appreciate that. As I said, like once before, what I love about in RPGs is like you still getting new characters like well into the game. I hate when everybody is introduced to you very quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously, at a certain point, you should have the entire party, and then there should be like a conclusion. But so they can, because there's games where you get a character late, and you feel like, like I don't have enough time with that character. I don't know that character well enough.
I see.
But I don't think that's going to happen with this game.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice chunk at the end, or I'll be okay.
Cool.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Expat, can you tell me why they go to school on Saturday?
Well, the school system in Japan, it's not. About 20 years ago, they used to go to school 6 days a week. That was just the general curriculum. But a lot of parents started protesting, getting angry at that, and so now only once or twice a year they have a Saturday schedule. So, but when my wife was in high school, back in those days, it was 6 days a week. So,
I can't tell you exactly 6 days a week.
I can't tell you the exact reasoning for it. I think one reason might be because of the club system they have in Japanese schools. For example, basketball club, soccer club. Even today in Japanese schools at the junior high school level, students still go to school on Saturdays if they're in a club. to play basketball, to play soccer, to play, or if they're in judo or in kendo or something like that. Yeah. So they still have club activities on Saturdays, but no classes. But, when, 20 years ago and before that, they had 6 days a week school curriculum. So
okay. Are there schools that still do that? Like private
No.
schools or something? No,
No.
it doesn't.
No, but like I said, like once or twice a year, they still do have a Saturday schedule, and usually it's for like in Japanese it's called Jugyo Sankong, which is when the parents come to visit the school and watch the lessons. So
okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because I'm like, wait. At a certain point, I was like, wait a minute. I'm going to school on Saturdays. Like Sunday is the only day in the game that you have like
off. Yeah.
You don't go to school, which doesn't even give you more time, which is weird because you still have like an afternoon activity and an evening activity. There's no like extra activity on the Sunday, really. But,
Yeah. I might be wrong though. In the prefecture I live in here, which is close to Tokyo, they only do maybe twice a year for Saturday schedule. But in Tokyo and maybe some of the other prefectures, there might be some schools that have a 6-day. But I think it's national that it's the same when it comes to Saturdays just for clubs. And then maybe twice a year they'll do like a full curriculum day. But usually on the Saturday schedule that they have classes, it's only until noon, and then kids go home. So
yeah. It is funny. Like this game, every once in a while, I'm like, I'm learning something about Japanese culture because like, there's something in it that I'm like, what is this? I got to look it up.
Don't look it up. Just call me or send me a message on Discord.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to ask you what is this maid service thing a real thing?
Yeah.
Can you call like a girl come in like a maid outfit and clean your house, or do potentially naughty things happen? Is that actually the implication in this game? Is like that's something that might be a case, but I don't know.
There are like maid cafes and things like that, and there are maid services, but they don't dress up as maids and come to your house and clean. But they do have maid services, where people will come and clean your apartment or clean your house. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have that in America. Like you could,
but they do have maid cafes though, and they do dress up like maids in the cafe. Yeah. Okay. So especially in Akiba, in Akihabara, they have lots of maid cafes. So, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. We only have one story we're going to talk about for the weekly news beat this week. So, of course, Burley's got some things to say about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So supposedly this patch arrives as Nintendo promises to take tech problems seriously, and the link to the article from IGN is below here for you video viewers here on the Arena Productions. So, Burley, take it away. So what's going on with this Nintendo apology? Yes.
Well, I think Nintendo has finally realized with all the negative backlash, though the game has sold over 10 million copies quite quick, they're realizing on Twitter and all the social media, everyone posting and just laughing of how the game runs. They're realizing, oh crap, this is hurting sales too. We need to come out and be like, we don't stand for this, because there are people that don't realize Nintendo doesn't fully own Pokemon and think this is all just Nintendo's fault.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, is this the quality of Nintendo games coming? So Nintendo's trying to cut it off as fast as they can on that.
Okay.
The patch, I have downloaded the patch for Violet. It helps a little, but I haven't noticed that much of an improvement.
Well, it says here in the IGN article, the notes released on Nintendo's website is version 1.1.0 of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet say that the broken music during the Elite Four and top champion battles has now been fixed, alongside a vague confirmation that, quote, other select bug fixes have been made, end quote. The patch available now also kicks off season 1 of ranked battles. So,
yeah. And that's stuff I haven't gotten into. I haven't gotten into the ranked battles, nor have I got to the Elite Four. Well, I am at the Elite Four. I haven't battled them yet. They really, this was an interesting one of like that I am still shocked that they released this game and released it in this state.
Yeah.
Like when we do the extra take on this is such a weird extra take for me because it's a game I really like, but I really am going to be really critical on the problems that this game has because it's launched in a really not a great state. Because like any other game company that would have came out with the frame rate so bad like this and skipping frames and stuff like that, I think we would be all killing them like when Cyberpunk came out.
Yeah. Let me just read what Nintendo did say about this. Quote, "We are aware that players may encounter issues that affect the game's performance," end quote. Quote, "Our goal is..."
You're going to encounter the problem. Sorry, Nintendo.
Yeah. Quote, "Our goal is always to give players a positive experience with our games, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We take the feedback from players seriously and are working on improvements to the games," end quote. So that's their stock, response to that. So, Carl, do you have anything you want to say about that? Yeah. Or this situation with Nintendo?
It's good. It's good to hear that Nintendo is, publicly addressing it. I don't know that they have done this before, but then I don't know that they've really had to. They generally their games have good performance and don't have a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll see. We'll see how seriously they take it. I mean, that first patch note you read, it's like, oh, we fixed the music thing. Like, no one was caring about that. I'm sure there's a couple people are like, oh yeah, there's no music here, but there's a lot more pressing issues.
I would. Yeah, like I care about that, but like that's the middle to bottom end of the stuff I care. I want the performance, not the chug.
Yeah, do you notice it? I saw the Digital Foundry video. There's they pointed out how there are things animating in the background, sometimes like a windmill or something, or even other characters, like non-focused main characters that are animating at lower frame rates intentionally. And it's like pretty obvious at times. Like the fan is moving at 15 frames per second or something, or a character is moving at 15 frames per second of animation versus the foreground main character.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that. Like you'll be like, I could just slowly be walking to a town, but it'd be a little bit of a distance away, and you'll see people walking, and they're like.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's like, oh my god, like.
Yeah, they said that's an intentional choice because I guess it's to help performance. But like, man, is that bad that you have to do that?
Well, the engine they're using is horrible. They need it. They need to use a new engine. There is no ifs, ands, or buts on this. Like, the engine that they're using has not been well, and I'm tired of hearing. It's the Switch's fault. It's because it's on the Switch. It's like, no, there are other Switch games that run well.
Right. Yeah.
So like Xenoblade runs well. Whole bunch of other.
I mean, it's visually way more attractive game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They pointed that out in Digital Foundry video, and even specifically Arceus and how it's a similar game and it looks much better.
Yeah.
And runs
well.
better.
Yeah. And it's probably because they took the proper amount of time to develop the game and make it run well. Whereas this game, they obviously pushed it to get it out, like Burley was saying, to get it out during the Christmas season.
Yeah, see, that's what bugs me is they forced out 2 games this year, and it's like, why? Arceus should have just been the November game. If you needed to get like Scarlet and Violet, you could have. It seems to me like they just wanted to they have the game for the holiday and get one more for this Switch. And it's like, I'm tired of this. This series has made enough money. It could take 2 to 3 years off with no mainline entries. And, the side studios make your Pokemon Puzzle League game or whatever side game you want to make.
Or just make DLC content for Arceus and Scarlet and Violet for the next year or two, until the next mainline game is ready.
Which they'll probably do anyway, right? Because they did that for Sword and Shield. They made DLC while still making Arceus.
Yeah, Sword and Shield's DLC went over well. I know I can't remember how much they sold, but the second one, Crown Tundra, that went over well with the audience because you had new content with like new legendaries that people really liked, and then you had the the multiplayer raid dungeon system, which is something I was hoping they would bring back for this, because that DLC I probably spent about 20 hours on that DLC alone, just doing the raid dungeons and doing it with people in my community and streaming it, because it was just such a fun thing, because you could grab you and 3 of your friends, and you each start with, like, they give you a list of random 4 Pokemon, you each pick one, and as you're going, you'll encounter new Pokemon. You grab, and then you can each choose, oh, I'll take that, or no, I will, or no, we won't take that one, and we can choose our paths, and you get benefits of which path you go, and then it leads you to a legendary at the end. And if you guys beat that legendary with the team that you assemble through this raid dungeon, you instantly can catch that legendary. It was just a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, question. Do either of you think that maybe it's time to stop doing 2 versions of Pokemon?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Just have one version. Yeah.
They're never gonna not do it though, because they love having
they did
that
with Arceus.
whole trade
I know it's different.
exclusivity and all that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it just feels like, maybe you're spending extra dev time doing that, right? Not a lot, but it's a little bit.
Yeah, well,
like the trading aspect, like the point of that was like to encourage physical trade, right? You have to interact with someone else who had that copy of the game, right? But now that it's all online, it's just like, I'm just like trading with some rando, that I don't even know, just to fill out my Pokédex. Like it's not really forcing you to interact with other people. You're just doing what you have to do now.
Yeah.
And now you don't even have to trade. If I wanted the version exclusives with Scarlet, I can have, like, I'll use Z, for example, my moderator. He has Scarlet. I can join into his game, and I go into the Scarlet world, and I can just go run around and catch the Scarlet exclusives.
Oh, well. There you go.
They added that, but like I agree, the 2 versions, because the problem is, as they've gone on, they've tried to make stuff for each version to make it a little more exclusive. Like in Black and White, one of them had the forest that you could catch exclusive Pokemon and extra little dungeon, whereas the one had the one trainer town where you got extra exclusive trainer battles. And I think there was like a couple exclusive TMs in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell you, here's the plan. Easy way to make up some of that money you might lose, because I'm sure your percentage of the people who actually buy 2 is not high. It's a good amount. I know some people.
I haven't bought 2 versions in forever.
Yeah, but there's some people. So here you go. You drop the other version. You make a special edition version that comes with like a plushie of the starters. One of the starters, or and there you go. And probably more people will buy that, and it will be much cheaper to produce.
Yeah.
I agree. I want more plushies of these.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's get to one of our gaming discussions for this episode. And this was a story from The Guardian I ran across this last week, and thought you guys would want to talk about it a little bit. So, obviously, with Elden Ring, of course, Elden Ring is most likely going to win Game of the Year next week. We shall see. But there were recently some members of the video game community that were, upset that, of course, From Software's oblique open world adventure Elden Ring is, was nominated in the best narrative category as well. So, I mean, I want to talk about this article from the Guardian, and I'm going to throw the link up here in a second. But, is the player having to do most of the work in assembling a cogent narrative the future of gaming? So I'll go ahead and throw the link up here for you from the Guardian. And this article, I mean, the writer of this article is talking about Elden Ring and the fact that he played a lot of the game, and he was able to enjoy the game, over 200 hours of it. For example, he had his own plot, like wandering the dangerous lands, and being able to pick up things, trinkets here and there, and be able to make his own kind of narrative out of the game. And he's also talking about other games kind of like the multiplayer games like Warzone and, for example, like the Call of Duty DMZ. He's also talking about DayZ as well. And I'm going to read one of his quotes here in the article. He says, I've played dozens of matches, and he's talking about these multiplayer games in the sense here, with my friends, my sons, and with complete strangers, and the stories we generate are thrilling, ridiculous, and always different. The tension of waiting for an escape chopper when you're down to your last 10 bullets and have a bag stuffed with loot is unbearable at times. The emotions it creates are much more authentic than many authored narratives in this medium. So he says, I think this is the future of video games. I know there must always be space for well-structured stories handcrafted by experts who understand concepts such as character arcs, subtext, and catharsis, but they shouldn't hold a dominant position anymore. Video game worlds are no long mission backdrops. They are possibility spaces. They need to offer a coherent setting, the ability to generate plot lines and encounters, and the facilities to let players define their own responses to that world. Because as fun as the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign was, not one single moment competed with that time in DMZ when I escaped a shootout by jumping off a bridge or onto a speedboat being driven to my French teammates. That's what video games are about now. Transitory moments of emergent pleasure and meaning. The next generation of blockbusters should reflect that. Let's bust apart the familiar structures, the mandatory narrative thorough lines, the separation of single-player campaign and multiplayer shoot space, the crushing totalitarian force of lore. Making games more like Escape from Tarkov and less like Assassin's Creed doesn't mean we have to completely lose storytelling. So I wanted to get your guys' take on this story. So do you think that's where we're headed in video games now? Carl, I'll start with you. What do you think?
I mean, no, absolutely not. He's talking about a specific type of game, right? Or at least emergent story and experiences in video games. Mm-hmm. And that's a type of game. There's both of these type of games exist. There's no reason to say that like one is the new thing that's going to take over and the other shouldn't exist. Like they both exist. They both should exist. They're completely different. And the idea that like this is in response to, Elden Ring being nominated for Best Narrative. I mean, like you don't have to participate in every category, right? Like why, it's not like Elden Ring's not being nominated for Best Ongoing Game because it's not an ongoing game. Mm-hmm. It's like Elden Ring doesn't need to be nominated for Best Narrative, like just to be Game of the Year. Mm-hmm. Right? It doesn't. That's not how it works. It shouldn't work that way. And look, Overwatch won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, and I guarantee it wasn't nominated for Best Narrative. Still won. So yeah, and I want to read like something in here that he said because like I was like, really? Like,
go for it.
Because he said, okay, he's talking about like the story. And he says, the player has to do most of the work in assembling a cogent narrative, which suited me fine because through the 200 hours I spent with the game, I simply do not care about the plot. I have my own. And it's like, all right, look, how can the game be the best narrative if someone is like, I don't care about the plot. I have my own plot, He's saying, not bothering to try and make sense of the world, just keen to explore and fight and survive. I like the story better, especially when my son joins me and we take on foes together, reveling in the story that builds of its own accord as we play. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sure that's a great experience, but that's not best narrative as like designed by the game, by the creators of the game.
But what he's also trying to say, though, too, Carl, is that he thinks that's what should be the future of gaming is to build your own narrative, like within these games.
And that's the game you want. But if I want a narrative experience? Like, then I should have that.
You should have that. Yeah, you should have that choice. Obviously,
people want different things, guy. Okay, like it shouldn't be, like. And then he even says, like, he even points to like open world genre, like ushering this in with Grand Theft Auto 3, and it's like, but Grand Theft Auto 3 has a linear narrative with story missions that. If it wasn't in the game, I don't think that game would be considered as great.
Burley, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Carl on this. Like, if you want to make your own stories for games and your own things, that's fine. Like, I get it. There are some games that have no narrative and you're making up your own things, especially playing with your friends and stuff like that. I get that. But like, I always love a good narrative in my games. But it is on your preference and depending on what game you're playing and what style of game. Like, as much as I would maybe want to make my own story up for Ghost of Tsushima, I'd rather keep the original narrative because I really like the narrative on that.
Well, maybe there will be games in the future where you can turn off the narrative and just create your own.
Yeah, right. You can avoid it in some games. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like sim games have always been like that. Like the narrative is what happens as you play, and you sort of create that in your head. And State of Decay 2 is that game for me, where like there's like small narrative things here and there, but like my community, I feel like I have a personal story as I play it, right? And that's my experience,
right?
And I enjoy that. But like again, I wouldn't say like I just want that and nothing else. Like, no, I absolutely want that narrative experience as well. And Persona 5 Royal I'm playing right now, which is like half the time I'm not even playing like a video game really. I'm just like reading or watching a story play out and making a few dialogue choices. You know? Yeah. But I enjoy it because I like the characters a lot.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's get to the topic of the show, guys. So PlayStation 5 is now 2 years old. Okay, turned 2. Xbox is also 2 now. And we're going to talk a little bit about PlayStation here. So is it worth the price of admission? So, of course, it's 2 years old, but of course, with inflation, countries other than the United States, the prices are going up. There are still chip shortages that they're saying are hampering the production of PS5s and all. But it's not only just the hardware; it's like the software too. The games. Are there really truly enough games out there for the PlayStation 5 to warrant this type of price point to get a PS5? Yes, of course, God of War Ragnarok is obviously helping with that now. And then, of course, earlier this year, Horizon Forbidden West, it's a beautiful game, And then going into next year, obviously, you're going to have Spider-Man 2. You're going to have the Final Fantasy 16 game coming out, So, and then I know, Carl, you want to talk about Xbox too. Is it worth getting after the first 2 years as well? But what do you guys think? Is the PS5 worth the price of admission at the 2-year point? Burley, I'll start with you. What do you think?
See, I've been struggling for my answer on this because yes, I do have one. I'll be honest though,
and as
with
do
the
I.
First year I had it. If I wasn't a content creator, as a content creator in my streaming, I don't know if I wasn't doing that, if it'd be necessarily worth, because the device over here is like $700 for the disc version. So it's like, that is a tough pill to swallow. And a lot of the big games for the PlayStation are cross-gen on the PS4 and PS5. Yes, the PS5 versions are better, but you still get a pretty competent version on the PS4. Like, see, this was so hard. I'm gonna only say yes if you've got the cash to spare, obviously, and if you're doing other stuff with it. If you're doing content creation, yeah, I can definitely recommend it. But I don't know for average Joe if it's worth it, especially now the costs have gone up by, I think it was like $20-$30 before the tax.
Yeah. From my perspective, I looked at it as, of course, I have the digital edition. Unlike you, Burley, you have the optical version. I have the digital edition, which is $100 less. And I of course, I have PS4 Pro, but I wanted to try it And for me, obviously, when I buy a console, it's a long-term investment. So I figure, I get it at launch, and I know I'm going to have it for like 5 to 6 years. Yeah, there might be a pro model to come out at some point, but I look at it as a long-term investment, even though the price is pretty steep, even for the digital edition. I mean, but and the games will come. And that's what I was thinking of in the beginning when I did get it. I mean, yeah, you can transfer your PS4 games over to your PS5, but I mean, and there weren't too many big AAA titles at launch, obviously, but I knew down the road they would be coming, like Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart came, and then obviously this year Horizon Forbidden West, and now God of War Ragnarok, which I'm still playing, and then into next year and the year after that we're going to be getting more. So I just looked at it as a long-term investment. So, Carl, let's switch to you. Your thoughts on PlayStation. Then I know you have some things to say about Xbox as well. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's really depend on who you are, what kind of gamer you are. Obviously, for me specifically, in my position, because I bought the Xbox Series X, I don't need a PS5, right? And yes, I'm missing out on a handful of great first-party exclusive, but I never, even if I had more time to play video games, I would never be like in a position where I don't have something to play.
Right.
And I guess I'll talk about Game Pass when I talk about the Xbox, but like, there's still so many games available, even if you're just buying them, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to run out. And so like the other type of people out there, I mean, your enthusiast is going to buy it like day one, your early adopter is like, yeah, it's worth it to any early adopter, right? Because it's a good console and there's good stuff available on it.
Right.
But if you're more casual, you already have a PS4. I mean, I don't think it's really worth it because most of the games are cross-gen. The pool of games you're missing out on is very small now, even today, 2 years later, which is different from most generations. That, yeah, like even third party, there's still very few third party games that are only next gen or current gen now, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So there's not a lot you're really missing out. And then, of course, if you jumped to mid-gen, you probably really don't need it either, for the most part. But if you're that person, you probably would be an early adopter anyway. So, like, again, it's hard to gauge. And then for kids, right? If you're a kid looking for a console and you got to ask, you obviously means your parents have to buy it for you. The PS5 is hard to recommend over the Series S. Because if I'm a parent now, but like my kid's not old enough. But when the time comes, and if my daughter wants to play video games, and today was like, I'm in the situation now, I would be like, look, if she was like, I need a PS5, I'm like, it's a lot of money. Like I would be like, look, I want to get you this Series S.
Yeah.
For $200 less potentially, or I guess $100 versus the it's digital, or it's on sale for $250, so even $150 less, right? Yeah. And get you Game Pass, and that's gonna, as a parent, that's gonna save me a ton of money because that's gonna give the kid a ton of games to play. I mean, sort of almost a never-ending supply of entertainment that I don't have to keep investing a lot of money into. Because you also have to consider, like, if you buy the PS5, you have to pay $70 for all of your games now. I mean, minimum, right? If you're in other countries, it's higher.
Yeah.
And that's not the case, that if you're still on PS4, some of those games, I don't know if God of War, was that still $60 on PS4? I'm not sure.
Yes, that was still $60 on PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like there's higher costs in general for everything, right? When you're getting into the PS5, controller is more expensive. The base price of that controller is more expensive. If you need a second controller,
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what you were saying, Carl, about children, I mean, I looked at it as it depends on the age of the child too. Yeah. I think a particular age of child is going to probably be more into, say, a Nintendo Switch type of game. Whereas as they get older and they get into like junior high and high school, that's when they're going to be playing, the games, the intensive like shooter type of games like in PlayStation or on Xbox. So I think the age of the child also factors into the purchase of a console as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess I'm really talking about like the child that is looking to get either Xbox or PlayStation.
Right,
Those
right. Of course. Yeah.
similar. Like Switch is like another kind of
Yeah.
a different thing, but
Yeah, that's a whole different other conversation about, is it really a console or is it a hybrid? Because I mean, I honestly, I think it's a hybrid. It's a console, but it's also a handheld device. So
yeah. Oh, and there's the one other class of person is the the PC gamer who's got the high end PC. Like you don't need a PS5 probably at all, because you have the largest library of video games in existence as it is already.
Yeah.
And a lot of PS5 games are going to start coming to PC. We're starting to see them already. So you can just wait it out.
if you were comparing it to the Xbox, then I would say that PC gamers wouldn't want an Xbox more than a PS5, because usually most games that come out on Xbox come out on PC simultaneously, whereas where the PS5 exclusives still, it takes maybe a year or more for it to be released on PC. But
it's going to take like 2 to 3 years. Like
right.
I don't think we're going to see Ragnarok on PC for at least 4 years. Yeah, like I love my PS5, but unless you're a diehard Sony fan, like I am a huge Sony guy. I'm not going to lie. That's my only like recommendation. If you've got the capital as well, like as Carl said, the cost goes up for the games, controller, and all that.
Well, and then another side part of this story, if you're a subscription service type of person, I don't think it's the PlayStation is worth the price of admission at the moment, because as we've talked about several times before, PS Plus, especially like, essential, extra and premium, I should say, it just have not lived up to the hype. And, they're still like losing, maybe, I think this year alone, they've lost over 2 million subscribers. So,
well, extra to me isn't so bad, because you do have a good variety of PS4 and PS3 games. Like my problems with the PS3, you having to stream it is whatever on that, but it's just like premium, because they marketed like, we're going to be bringing a lot of PS1, PS2's games back. They brought like 10 back, and we're like, okay, they're going on the I think they looked at the Nintendo model of, we can release these every like 4 to 5 months, release something on there and get away with it.
Yeah. So as far as Xbox goes, and it's interesting you mentioned the PC, and if you're on PC you don't need an Xbox, which is mostly true, but there is a synergistic relationship where if you're interested in like Game Pass, right, and you get Game Pass Ultimate, which you get PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass, you can go between those platforms easily, right? And you have your cross saves on a lot of games, and it's cool if you're someone who might do that, right? You can play on your PC, but if for some reason you want to play in the living room in another room that has an Xbox, then you jump in there and you have the same games, same saves. That is cool. But you don't need something like that. As far as the 2 years of Xbox goes, I mean, would I say you absolutely need it? I mean, it's a different situation, because I mean, it's significantly better than the Xbox One.
Oh yes,
right?
leaps and bounds better.
Yes.
no nanny state console.
Well, so like unless people had the Xbox One, so it's probably easier to recommend, in my opinion, an Xbox, where it's a Series S or an X, to someone than a PS5. Because I think the PS5 people, like I said, a lot of them already know what they want, already have a PS4 that can do a lot of what they need right now. The Series S might be the best entry point for so many people, because the price is good, and again, because Game Pass, over the last 2 years, Game Pass has been incredible. Like, I can literally not buy a single video game and just play Game Pass releases and be very happy.
Burley included. Series S.
Yeah.
Well,
But
yeah.
the series,
That's what
go ahead.
for me. Like, I didn't want to buy another $600 box with the X. I didn't want to buy it. I've already got a good PC. I bought the S because it's a nice, sleek, small thing, and it's nice to bring to places if I want to just bring a small console. And then having Game Pass, it's nice. I don't have to buy the new Halo or new Gears of War or whatever, new Forza's out. I'm not spending $90 every game. It's pay the $16 each month. I get Game Pass and I can now play all this stuff. I love it. It's just I can then, and it gives me the ability to try more franchises out that I not necessarily in other genres of games that I would never have necessarily tried, because it's like, do I want to spend $10 even though it's on a flash sale for $10? Do I want to take that hit? With Game Pass, it's I can play it, I can stream it. If I don't want to download and commit to the game, I can stream it. And the nice thing is I can stream it to the PC, my Xbox itself, or even on my Steam Deck. It's nice.
Yeah.
Like you were mentioning with the ecosystem of the saved. I love having that. I got my saves anywhere and I can just pick up and go.
Right. There's the cloud aspect as well. Yeah. And the Series X, I think, is also equally recommendable in that, like, if anybody is someone who likes to have a nice TV, right? Like a high-end TV, like you're going to want, you don't want the stronger console, right? To play your games at 4K or higher resolutions. Like you're going to notice those lower resolutions on large TVs, right? For sure.
Yeah.
So like I would, and again, the library is equally the same, and games just run better on the Series X, obviously, versus the S. And Game Pass is like just, first party also is one thing. Is like on Xbox is like this year, obviously very weak, right?
Yeah.
But last year wasn't, and yes, some stuff like was already available. Like, okay, Flight Simulator wasn't like day one on Xbox, right? But okay, you got Flight Simulator. If you're interested in that, you got Halo Infinite, you got Forza Horizon 5, you got Psychonauts 2, all directly into Game Pass, and just fantastic games to play.
Yeah, and just recently a Plague Tale Requiem, so
again, there's those third-party partnerships that have been strong too. But the indies, right? The smaller games.
Yes.
And even some of them you might consider AA, right? Like there's a lot of like the Game Pass experience of like every month I get something new that's either it's been out on other platforms and it's just coming to Xbox, or it's just launching and I'm getting it day one. And I want to try those things. I don't just play AAAs anymore. And I did. And that was how I mostly was prior to Game Pass, right? It was really that's like, I didn't feel like spending money on the smaller experiences. I'd buy the larger experiences. I'd put my time into it, and I'd jump to the next one. But now,
and the Japanese game library is expanding as well. So you got Danganronpa. You got Danganronpa on Game Pass now. You got the Persona game now, Carl. So lots of other Japanese games are coming to it. Yeah. So yeah. Should be and we're going to be talking about Game Pass in a little bit, and there's some good ones this coming here in December. There's some good ones, so we're going to be talking about those. But before we get to that, so let's move on to talk about the new game releases for the week of December 5th through the 11th. And so as of course every week we give our pick of the week of new game releases. You can check out the article for all of you video viewers at releases.com, where all of the new game releases are. So you can go and check that out. So anyway, Carl, you are first this week. What is your pick of the week?
My pick is Chained Echoes, which is coming to PS4, PS5, PC, Switch, Xbox One, Series XS on December 8th. Take up your sword, channel your magic, or board your mech. Chained Echoes is a 16-bit SNES-style RPG set in a fantasy world where dragons are as common as piloted mechanical suits. Follow a group of heroes as they explore a land filled to the brim with charming characters, fantastic landscapes, and vicious foes. Can you bring peace to a continent where war has been waged for generations and betrayal lurks around every corner? Chained Echoes is a story-driven game where a group of heroes travel around the vast continent of Volandis to bring an end to the war between its three kingdoms. And I'll stop it there. And this game is also launching directly into Game Pass.
Nice. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, this one was cool. It's when I really, alerted me to Sea of Stars, and then later I came across this one. I'm like, oh, this is also kind of doing that same type of thing, the SNES style, almost Chrono Trigger, sort of inspired, RPG. That's cool.
Cool.
I would like to jump in. I hope I have the time to do so.
All right.
Let's
Cool.
give it a chance. At least just taste it,
Yeah.
Well, if you just stop this right now, just play Persona 5, don't sleep, don't eat, don't take any breaks, you might be able to finish in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Burley, you're up next. What do you got for us this week?
My pick of the week is Dragon Quest Treasures. Eric and his sister Mi live on a Viking longship, dreaming of the day they can explore the world in search of grand treasure. One night they encounter a pair of otherworldly creatures, Porcus and Persila, and are whisked away to a mysterious place known as Draconia, a legendary land full of treasures just waiting to be discovered. The adventure of Eric and me have always dreamed of is finally underway. So it's coming Friday, December 9th, only to the Switch. This is one, I really like the character of Eric from Dragon Quest 11, or 11S, because that's the version I played. So,
yeah.
It's I wish this was not just locked to the Switch. I really wish it wasn't just locked to the Switch, but hey.
It might not be forever.
On my...
It might not be forever.
Yeah.
I mean, we could see this on Game Pass in a couple of years. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to see it on the deck probably sooner.
Yeah.
PC,
definitely PlayStation. Yeah. I pre-ordered this game today, actually. Yeah, so I'll be going over to Yodobashi and picking it up next Saturday. So I'm looking forward to playing it.
Really, I'm surprised that this is something you're going to try to jump into right away.
I don't know about right away because I've got Callisto Protocol and everything else still, but I will get to it though.
Well, then why pre-order it? Just buy it whenever you're ready.
See, I already have this preloaded.
I
on my
have
Switch once
because Carl, I have Yodobashi points, and I use my points to get it. So
okay,
yeah,
I get it.
I didn't have to pay any money, so yeah, just use my Yodobashi card points. Yeah, so yeah. Alrighty. Okay. I'm up next. My game, my pick of the week is Hello Neighbor 2. Hello Neighbor 2 is a stealth horror game where you're being stalked by a mysterious creature as you try to track down Mr. Peterson, the neighbor, who has disappeared after the events of the first game. Play against an advanced self-learning AI that tracks and adapts to your every move. Coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Series X and S on Tuesday, December 6th. So, yeah.
Launching into Game Pass.
And launching into Game Pass. That is correct. I will be playing it there most likely. But, self-learning AI. Who doesn't like self-learning AI that stalks you? I mean, Did you guys play the first game?
No.
No.
No. I've seen someone stream the first game.
No.
But I have not played it myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the second game. But yeah, Carl, I'll probably be playing this on Game Pass for sure. So good stuff. Yeah. Hello Neighbor 2. So all right. So those are our picks of the week for the week of December 5th through the 11th. So you can go to releases.com and check out the rest of the releases for this coming week. So, all right. And Burley, next up, what are our PlayStation Plus games for December? Let's go through those. Hey.
Alrighty, we actually have a good, they end the year off good with a good month. You've got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, so you're getting Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, which is just awesome. So with the little enhancements and pretty much all the DLC, except for I think the first game that didn't include the DLC. You got DKO, Divine Knockout, which is launching into the service. and for PS5 and PS4, but you also have Biomutant for
I want to play
PS5 and
this
PS4.
one.
Yeah, Biomutant is one I've really wanted to try.
Okay.
I know it kind of just launched and disappeared. That's the thing.
Mhm.
But like,
I
it's nice.
mean,
Mass
I
Effect, you
heard,
don't
I
have
heard
to
interesting mixed things about, but yeah, some people seem to like it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I'm curious to see how well it is with patches and stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff. So, what do you think overall of the PlayStation Plus games for December for this month? I was surprised that Mass Effect Legendary Edition got dropped into it, but and Biomutant as well. I mean, but yeah, I mean it's pretty strong lineup, I think. Yeah.
Well, Mass Effect is the surprise and is the big one on there.
Mm-hmm.
Divine, yeah, I'll try that and see how it is, but I don't expect too much on that. They'll be playing that long. Biomutant doesn't surprise me necessarily because just that was a game that came and went. They're wanting it on the service to just try and drum up, because I know that studio went through hell trying to get that game out, and then after that I have not heard nothing about them ever again. So I think they're probably just get our game on here, please get it on here. We want something drum up.
Why was the Legendary Edition in the graphic just have PS4? Did they not? I know there were
there's no PS5.
There were slight differences if you had a PS5 or Series X, but maybe it's just included in maybe it's not like a separate version. I don't know.
Well, if you have a PS5, there is the patch that you get more. It runs better and stuff.
All right, yeah.
I see.
So, but there's just no PS5 version per se.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, and Carl, pretty strong lineup of Game Pass games coming for December. What do we got?
Yeah, indeed. They seem to make that happen all the time. So let's see. Available today already. We have Eastward. We have The Walking Dead, the final season.
Nice.
And for PC only, a game called Totally Reliable Delivery Service.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know anything about, but it looks like one of those like fun, silly games.
Yep.
And then coming on December 6th, we have a big one, which is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Yes, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this one. I'm downloading this one day one for sure on Game.
Oh, it's a fun game.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one to get on there. I was surprised. That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then we have also December 6th, Hello Neighbor 2, right, launching into Game Pass. December 8th, Chained Echoes, my pick of the week there, launching into Game Pass.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why Metal Hellsinger is there for Xbox One. I guess maybe they didn't have a previous gen version, and now they did. I don't know.
And Burley and I, we did our of course Steam Deck video extra take. You can check it out. Yes, for Metal Hellsinger. So
and then we have on December 13th, High on Life, launching into Game Pass, which could be a very good game from what people who have played it, early previews talked about. Yeah. Then we have Potioncraft on December 13th, console PC, which is a game that was one of my picks of the week one week a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested. I'm happy that I'm like, okay, it's a game that's I have on my Steam wish list, and it's one of those fun little looking sim games that I do want to try. It's cool, like that's happened a few times where a game I've been interested in that, and I waited, and eventually it just got picked up on Game Pass.
Nice.
Oh, Expeditions Rome was another one. I remember that.
Yeah.
But that was PC only. And then Rainbow Billy: The Curse of the Leviathan on December 15th. If you notice, I did skip one, Hot Wheels Unleashed, which is a significant game that to mention. It's Game of the Year edition as well. It comes with all the DLC. But for some reason, there was a delay, so it's actually not coming yet. They don't know exactly what happened.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Yep. Skywalker saga for me. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna play that first. Yeah. Excited about that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
quickly, I guess leaving on December 15th is a couple of significant ones. Aliens Fireteam Elite, Dragon Quest 11 is actually leaving.
Wow. Okay.
Firewatch,
Oh,
Lake.
wow.
That Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit and Wonderland Labyrinth game, which I played, which I really enjoyed, that's leaving. Those are the big ones. There's a couple others.
So download them before they go. So if you haven't played them yet, so for sure.
And can I briefly mention? There's an ID at Xbox Winter Game Demo event starting.
Okay.
Which is tied to the Game Awards as well. So it's gonna start on December 6th and run through December 12th, and there'll be over 20 demos that you'll be able to play.
Nice.
Of unreleased games that are coming to Xbox, and a lot of these are multi-platform. They're not just Xbox. So. Yeah. But this is where you'll be able to play them, and 2 games that they've already announced that will be there. I'm interested in, which is Inculinati, which is like a strategy. Sort of, a combat game, which is similar to art style to Pentiment, and then Thirsty Suitors, which is that sort of like weird turn-based sort of like romance skateboarding mashup thing. So I'm interested. Yeah, it's cool. I think I'm going to try to jump into play those games so I can talk about them.
Cool. All right, so now it's time to briefly talk about the games we're going to be playing this upcoming week. Obviously, Callisto Protocol for me, as well as more of God of War Ragnarok. Carl, more Persona.
More Persona. I'm not going to finish it by the end of next week. So,
hey, maybe get into Skywalker Saga. Yeah.
I guess no, I'm not. But I guess I would like to play it. It's not like I wouldn't. But Chained Echoes actually, I should try to make it a point to at least play it one night. Just try it out.
Carl, start A Plague Tale Requiem. You got to get on that one. Yeah,
I know. That's my next game queued up. And once I finish Persona 5, I'm going to be hard into Requiem. I'll play the whole thing.
Cool. Burley, how about you, man?
He's got to play Stray. That's the real game of the year.
Yes. Yeah. Can't wait to see it win, Burley.
Yeah, Burley's all in on game of the year for Stray. Yeah, so.
I would love for that to happen. For me, I'll continue to be playing Xenoblade. I'm getting real close to the end, so I want to finish that up. Then I'm going to be continuing on with Pokemon Violet because I'm close to the end on that, and continuing through God of War Ragnarok.
Cool. All right. And just a brief programming note, of course, next week is the Game Awards. We're going to be focusing on next week's episode of the Game Award winners. We'll be giving our reactions to those. But before that, during the Game Awards, Burley is going to be, of course, I'm going to be at work. I won't be able to do live reactions or anything. But Burley's going to be doing live reactions. So stay tuned. We'll be uploading it to the Arena Productions YouTube here. So stay tuned for that. So, all right. So now it's time for our indie recording artist spotlight to end the show. So this week's spotlight is on Ziv Moran. Multi-instrumentalist and composer Ziv Moran has perfected a style that is brilliantly refined and inescapably catchy. There seems to be no genre or category of music in which he cannot write, produce, and perform masterfully. Currently, he is focusing on film score collaborations and indie rock productions with Artlist. From his album titled Black Bells, and the song is called Up on the Rooftop. So your Christmas song of the week. So this has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 114. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleyman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone. Peace out.